Hello, hello, my name is Dove. If you're new here, then welcome. If you are returning, then welcome back, and also, I love you. Today's gonna be really chill, really casual. I just sort of want to give you guys a life update, share some exciting news, tell you about what's coming up on the channel. I also went to the Portland Zine Symposium this weekend, so I wanted to give you guys a little zine haul. I tried to take a couple videos while I was there, and guys, I don't think I'm cut out for vlogging. I don't think it's the lifestyle for me. I desperately want it to be, but oh my god, it's so awkward. It's so awkward. Nothing but love and appreciation and admiration for my vlogging soldiers out there who give us such cutesy little videos showing us how they're spending their time. I don't think it's for me. Hello, it is I from the future. Later that day, I'm currently editing this video, and I just want to warn you guys, I talk about 4 very different topics over the course of this, so please feel free to skip over the ones that you aren't interested in. I will have links to navigate the sections. First up, I will be talking about the experience of getting published in a magazine. I will be recapping and giving you a haul from the Portland Zine Symposium. Then I spend like 10 minutes talking about my knitting projects right now. And then I get to the important part where I tell you about upcoming videos on the channel, and I ask you guys for some of your opinions and whatnot. So again, I will not be offended. Please feel free to skip over the parts that you're not interested in. However, I couldn't bring myself to cut out my little rant about knitting. So let's start with the exciting good news first. There is a magazine publishing company called Broccoli Publishing. They're best known for their magazine Broccoli, which is now out of print. I think they did like 11 or 12 issues of it, and it was like an artsy cannabis magazine. But from that, they've also done a few other offshoots. There's a magazine called Mushroom People. There's an offshoot called Calling All Horse Girls. They did a cat magazine, which is super cute. They're making a new magazine about sound called Heartbeat. And in their pitch call, they had suggestions for the type of things that they wanted to hear. And so much of it was like talking about music, suggestions that aren't what they're looking for, because they knew that so many people were going to want to talk about music. And I looked at that and I was like, well, I can talk about sound, but I think maybe I have a relatively novel lens to be talking about it through. I sent 3 ideas for little contributions to go to this magazine, and I actually got selected to do one. So 2 years later, after a bunch of hiccups in the development process, it kept getting delayed and getting delayed. It is finally here. So I have not opened the package, as you can see. We're gonna open it together and see my submission from 2 years ago in a magazine. So this is my first time seeing it. I've seen what the page looks like. I've read the page. So this is the very first edition of Heartbeat Mag by Broccoli Publishing. Again, it's a magazine all about sound, not necessarily music, although also that, but sound as a whole, which is why I was pretty confident that I could, beat out people, because I talked about sound coming from more of a cultural geography perspective, because whether or not we realize it, part of what makes up place, capital P place, I always talk about it on here, is the experience of being somewhere, and that includes the sights, the sounds, the tastes, right? Heavy on the sounds, their sound creates such an ambiance, and not necessarily a good one. It's not always pleasant, and I could talk about that in my own neighborhood, frankly, because guys, if I ever lose my mind, if I ever have a psychotic break, it's going to be because of the leaf blowers. I can't remember, I think my other submissions, the ones that were rejected, because I remember that I sent 3, I think one of them actually was about leaf blowers. Guys, I should warn you now, this video isn't planned out, okay? I have a general bullet point list of the things I want to cover. One of the submissions was about leaf blowers and the psychological effects that it has on humans as mammals, and specifically a couple summers ago when I really thought I was going to go insane from hearing the leaf blowers in my neighborhood, and I was this close. I was this close, okay? That was one of the submissions that they weren't interested in. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember the other one. I know I had another one that they weren't interested in, but on their like list of suggested topics, one of them was music or sound memory. And I actually do have a very interesting sound memory that I thought tied in great with like the cultural geography perspective that's pretty unique, and honestly it's an experience that is kind of insane to think about it. Like, the fact that I was there and I witnessed it is pretty wild. But once when I was on a hike with my dad, we witnessed a old growth tree falling in the forest. We were there to see the tree fall in the forest, and it did make a sound. And so that's what my little 200-word piece in this magazine is about, and I'm gonna find it now and show it to you and maybe read it to you. I will say we went through a few rounds of edits, and the final piece that they ended up rolling with is not my favorite version of the piece. I think it's fine, but what do I know? I'm not the publisher, so I'm just grateful to be included in this. And then also, like a couple months after the fact, they sent out another query to all of the contributors to give like a 4 or 5 song playlist to be included. So that is also in here, which I think is really neat. This one was sent to me from the publishing company, but then I also ordered an extra one just in case I want to actually frame the page and still have a magazine be intact. This is beautiful. I am really excited to actually like read this and see all of the other things that people contributed. Oh, there's a piece about bells. That sounds cool. Oh, there's a piece about drones. You guys know I love drones. You know I love my Shruti box. I'm looking at it across the room. Oh, so many people asked, and I will talk about this more when I get to what's coming up on the channel. So many people asked what the instrument was that I used in my surprise at the end of my Kavi ballad song video. The answer, it's a Shruti box. So it's an Indian drone, Indian is in South Asian, drone instrument that's kind of, well, it's bellows. It's bellows with like a harp. Harp is in like type of mouth harp sort of deal. And you squeeze it. I don't really know how it works exactly, but you set the tone by allowing air to go through. It kind of looks like, I should just get up and show it to you, but I have a cat on my lap right now. I have a little Timmy in my lap who wants to snuggie. Anyway, there's a piece about drones, it looks like, and luckily it's the fun kind, not the annoying kind. Okay, I found it. Okay, this is me. So here's the piece. I know you guys probably can't see very well. Like I said, I'll film an actual inset or like a second cam piece once I'm done, but I will read it to you. Titled A Tree Falls in a Forest, and my playlist is also included on this page. The photo is, I don't know who it is or what. Like I said, I had no idea what the layout was going to be. I was planning on submitting for the visual portion because they do 2 different pitch calls. They do like all of the written stuff first, and then like a couple months later they'll do a call for art submissions. And I just never ended up putting in for that. As a child, my dad and I would play a game to see how far we could listen. We'd close our eyes and listen outwards, whispering reports of our findings. Once, while hiking in a section of unlogged virgin forest in the Appalachians, we witnessed the fall of an old-growth tulip tree. The air was heavy and humid, as it often is in late summer, and we'd stopped for a drink along our trek towards the falls. The first deafening crack made our heads snap up, scanning for the source of the sound until the movement registered. The tree was 100 or so feet away. It seemed to happen in slow motion, the trunk teetering as it decided which way it would like to fall. There was no feller's axe or turning wind. It was simply her time. Her ending was not quiet. She grunted and groaned the whole way down, but the forest seemed to mute itself to listen. The birdsong faded, the breeze grew still, and the leaves stopped whispering, as if all living things drew a collective breath until we finally felt the final thump reverberate beneath us. After a moment of reverent silence, the forest reawoke, and without words, we walked on. So that's my little piece. I gotta say, never in my life have I hemmed and hawed so much over 200 words. So just a little insight as to like specifically how the pitch, like what the process was, because I didn't know. This is my first and only time I've done this. Basically, I sent in a pitch. It was just an email. You don't have to like actually write anything beforehand. You just give like, I don't know. I personally wrote about 100 words for each pitch in the style that I like to write, so they kind of get an idea of like what the piece might sound like when I'm actually making it without having to invest time into making it before I even know if they're interested. And I estimated about how long I thought each piece would be, like what an appropriate length was, and then they got back to me about I would say like 2 weeks later, pretty quickly, to be honest. They gave me a little bit more detailed scope of like, we're interested in this, we want you to focus on this part of it. So I wrote a first draft within the next week or so, and then basically we just like shared a Google Doc. And so I wrote a draft, the editor would do edits, get it back to me, I would rewrite the draft, and I think what we ended up going with was my third draft. And overall it took about like maybe 2 weeks tops to nail that down. Afterwards, they had me send over an invoice. Broccoli, specifically, they pay about 50 cents a word, and they had offered me a flat $100 to write the piece at about 200 to 250 words. And then after that, it was just a matter of waiting. So yeah, it has been almost 2 years since I submitted this. It'll be 2 years in February of 2026, and it's currently mid-November. Oh my god, guys, where did November go? Holy shit. It's actually Veterans Day. I'm recording this because I took a 4-day weekend. Most of that was just to like catch up on housework. Fun. Fun. So the playlist that I included also never hemmed and hawed over 5 songs quite so much. And I would have, if I had known that they were going to print my little thing verbatim, I probably would have hemmed and hawed over my description a little bit more, but it's fine. Dove says, these songs all carry a belief I hold dear, one emphasized by the cyclical nature of all things, how the true meaning of life is simply to live it as best you can, and what a gift it is to even be given the chance. So the songs that I included are It's All Too Much by the Beatles on Yellow Submarine, and I said, the most underrated Beatles song of all time. They wrote a cosmos-spanning love song to the universe and life itself, and then buried it in the middle of the Yellow Submarine album, which itself was buried between the White Album and Abbey Road, which is so true. That album is underrated. I'm a Yellow Submarine stan. Okay? You got It's All Too Much. You got Hey Bulldog. Underrated album. The next one, I included The Flaming Lips, Do You Realize? I included Neutral Milk Hotel in an Airplane Over the Sea, classic. Mitski, My Love, Mine All Mine. And then the last one I included was When I'm Gone by Philox. So, anyways, that's I'm published now, guys. Crazy. I'm really thankful for the experience. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be really candid, okay? I was so excited when I got it, like when I got the yes and I got to write it and I got to submit it. It was all really exciting. It was supposed to come out a year ago. It was supposed to come out in like fall, winter of 2024. But like I said, a lot of stuff happened on their end, so it just kept hitting delays. So by this point, I feel pretty disconnected from it. Like, I'm proud of it still, and I'm really, it's cool to see myself in print. It's also been long enough that I don't feel like I'm the same person that I was who submitted it, and already there are things that I would have done differently or phrased differently, and like, that's fine. That's gonna happen literally any time you put out a print piece. And I know this because I know I've been very vague about my job. You guys know I work for a nonprofit, but specifically my job within the nonprofit is I do print design, and like graphic design and all of our like mailing pieces and stuff like that. So I do a lot of like print work. So the second I finish something and it's in print, there's already probably things I would change about it. So I am very used to that portion of it, but it's 2 years is a lot. And I don't know, I feel like a little bit emotionally disconnected from it. So I'm proud of myself, but I would have been more proud of myself if it had come out a year ago. You know what I mean? I am now going to show you my haul from the Portland Zine Symposium. I think this is another one I'm gonna have to do. You know, I just thought about it for a solid like minute. I just sat here thinking before I hit record again about whether or not I wanted to move my whole camera setup into my living room so that I could do this at my desk and just go ahead and like set up my phone as my second camera to do like an overhead walkthrough like I've done in the past for like my bingo cards and stuff. But no, I'm too lazy to do that because I already have the camera set up here, and it's like the corded battery is plugged in, and it would just be a whole ordeal. And frankly, I'd have to like clean my desk and my living room a little bit so that it looks more presentable in the background. So I'm just not gonna bother. We're gonna try our best, and whatever our best doesn't cover, it's fine. I'll just take videos of it on my phone after the fact as needed. It's fine. So this is the little zine that the welcome table gives you for the Zine Symposium. It has all of the sponsors. It has a list of all of the tablers on both days, although I will say I only went Saturday this year, even though I normally go to both Saturday and Sunday. A lot of people were sick, so there was actually a lot of empty space. And you can actually show up day of if you were waitlisted, because I was actually waitlisted this year. I put in a submission to table again. And frankly, getting waitlisted, I was like, cool, decision made. I just won't do it. That's fine. I wasn't too upset about that. Frankly, I'm very lucky that I do get quite a bit of traffic to my Etsy site because of all of you lovely people who like my work and go support me that way. So anyways, this welcome zine has a list of all of the tablers who are supposed to be there. It has like venue and accessibility info. Also, shout out to Portland Zine Symposium because they are one of the only events / spaces that still consistently require masks. Everybody was masked. It was great to see. It was great for me to feel safe. Also, guys, I'm gonna be so real. I never stopped masking. I still mask in most indoor public places. I do take calculated risks sometimes, but there are some places that I just can't imagine ever not masking at. Again, number one, planes, airports. People are gross. They're coming from all over the place, and you still have to travel even when you're sick sometimes. Same thing with the grocery store. Why would I ever not wear a mask at the grocery store again? You mean the place that people still have to go if they're sick? The place where I don't want anybody to be talking to me unprompted anyways? Yeah, I'll keep wearing masks there. Public transit in general. I used to get sick every single year because there is always, without fail, some man, always a man by the way, on the bus who's just like sniffling and making old man noises. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I would always get sick. Guys, I hardly get sick anymore. It's pretty great. Wear your masks. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, but sometimes is better than no time. Anyways, that was the welcome zine. That was a really long way to say, here's the welcome zine. So in no particular order, let's go through my zine haul. So the first zine I have here is called Revolutionaries. How will you live your life so that it does not make a mockery of your values? And it's basically a visual history of a bunch of different like revolutionaries and protests of different like major events and war. Like this one is against Vietnam. There's stuff from the Black Panthers. There's Anita Hoffman poses with a Molotov cocktail. Just lots of cool stuff. These next two I traded for them with my mutual, who I'm gonna tag everybody that I have contact info for. I will be tagging them in the description. Their Instagram, I believe, is craft or DIY. I will be tagging them below. But I got a great zine from them last year that was alley fruit. And it was about different fruit that you can get from alleyways, which is one of my favorite hobbies, by the way. I was on a walk the other day and I got a persimmon. So exciting. We'll talk about that later though, because it does have to do with something else that I want to hit in this video. Anyways, we did a trade and I got two zines from them. One of them is called Pink Flamingos and the other one is called Lakes Aren't Always Blue, on self-compassion in tough times. So yeah, just super sweet little one-page, partially illustrated little perzines. Very fun, very exciting. It is craft or DIY.art. Okay, these next two are also ones that I traded for. They're from the same artist. One of them is called Girl Animal and the other one is called Bugs. And when I was talking to the artist, I asked what Bugs was about and they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of bugs that are guys. And I was like, great. And then I saw Girl Animal and they were like, yeah, it's like girlhood personified. And I'm like, yes. So bugs that are just guys. So true. Look at those bugs that are guys. They, delivers on the premise. They are, in fact, bugs that are guys. And then, frankly, I think this one, Girl Animal, delivers on the premise even better. Because, tell me that's not the most girl you've ever seen. It totally is. That is so girl. That is, I'm sure so many of you will be able to relate to this. And here is their contact info. Beneath the concrete, the forest, and it's accounts from the defense of the Atlanta forest. So basically, Cop City. It's about Cop City. Well, it's not about Cop City. It's about trying to prevent Cop City from being built. So this is another collection of first-hand accounts of a current revolution. So it fits right in with this zine as well. The next zine I got is called Rock Skipper, an illustrated guide to great rock skipping. And the artist asked me if I was good at rock skipping, and I said, no, that's why I'm buying your zine. So here is their contact info. I have not read this yet, but I am excited to. This one is a Risa print edition, which is very fun and cool. And look at that illustration, so neat. Okay, and then this one actually isn't a zine. It is an invitation to an event celebrating the 20th anniversary of the ongoing My Day series. So this guy, his name is Nate, I believe. He basically for the past 20 years has been making zines just about spending time with friends throughout Portland. So I basically asked him, I was like, suggest one to me. Like, pick one that you think I would enjoy. And it's really neat because the series, again, is like, it is cultural geography. Yes, it's about their day, but specifically, what were they doing that day? Where were they? What was the experience of place like? So I think it's a really neat series. This one has some cool illustrations. I'm very excited to read all about their day. My day walking from Clackamas Town Center to the terminal end of 82nd Drive, then turning right and walking to Nate's house in Oak Grove. Okay, this next one is called The Pain Scale, and it is a sort of personal zine collection of poems about having chronic illness and chronic pain. Really excited to read this. It looks like most of it was written on a typewriter and then cut out to make these really beautiful spreads. The artist is Ty Garcia. Here is their contact info. And a few of these artists were kind enough to let me take a quick little video of their tables. Ty, I'm so sorry, I don't know which one it is, was one of those people. So let me show you a beautiful little video of their gorgeous table full of their work. We have another great little piece of cultural geography by Hello Magnolia. And this is a little photo zine of Oakland, which I believe they said was their hometown. So really cool. I believe I traded for this one as well, which is my favorite way to get zines. Love trading. By the way, guys, you can email me if you want to trade zines or something else. As I'm saying this, I'm remembering that I actually need to respond to somebody about a trade that they asked for probably like 6 weeks ago now. I'm sorry, guys, my life was falling apart. Normally, if you go to a zine fair, there will probably be a table full of like free zines and resources. Honestly, it was pretty crowded, which is great to see. So I only got like 1 or 2 free ones. One of them was this, which is free and open source software to make print objects for makers. Detangle your creative practice from Adobe products and other proprietary software. So it has a list of resources and hardware options and alternatives for a lot of things. Like, for example, classic, so classic right here, replace Photoshop with GIMP. Guys, don't even get me started on GIMP. Okay, this next one is by Sophie, I don't know if it's Wang or Wang. I feel like it's Sophie Wang. I actually bought one of their mini zines last year. I think it was also about fruit. I think it was about fruit at the Asian grocery store. I could be misremembering. But they did this little zine called What's in a Watershed. It looks like it was made in 2023. But connection, responsibilities, and opportunities for change. And it's sort of like a comic, but with a lot of great info. So can't wait to dive into that one. And then in a similar vein, we have Wildlife Observation as an Antidote to Despair, or An Ode to iNaturalist by Marlaina, Marlaina. I think it's Marlaina. Very cute. I haven't actually looked at this at all yet. Find joy in searching. But I do love bird watching, or birding in general, so love to see some iNaturalist love. I'm excited to look into that more. And then the last piece that I got here is called Wormholes Volume 1, which is a comic and an interdimensional invertebrate comic. And the person asked me if I was into worms, and I was like, well, I'm not into worms, but I am into discussions on the nature of existence. And really neat, this artist also gave you the option to sign up for their mailing list, like their email list, and they will send you updates of the comic as they make more, which I think is so cool. So this one is by Skyford. Again, I will be putting all of the contact info that I can find, that I have, into the description if you're interested in checking out any of these artists. And I highly suggest that you do. And also, just a quick shout out, if you are interested in getting into making zines, or you want to know more about process or the community or get ideas, I highly recommend you guys check out Bree's Tiny Print Shop. Bree is so cool. They're based out of California. I've been following them for a few years now, and they actually were the person who encouraged me to start out on YouTube. So thank you to Bree. Also gave me a lot of inspiration for how I run my Etsy shop and whatnot. They are just such a great resource for getting into the zine scene. That's kind of one of the things they're super passionate about. They make a lot of videos about how to get into zines, how to make them, again, ideas for process, for content, all sorts of stuff, because their whole thing is just wanting to get more people into this really fun and unique and accessible form of self-expression. That was my zine haul. Now a couple random things I just want to show you guys. I finished my Olga sweater yesterday after putting off finishing it for literally weeks, because once I finished the torso, I wasn't convinced that I liked the fit, and then people were like, don't worry guys, trust the process, it'll be fine. Like, I felt that way until I put on the sleeves. Guys, I put on the sleeves and I still kind of hate the fit. Okay, no hate to petite knit. No hate here. Okay, however, comma, I think maybe I just need to give up on her patterns. I don't think they are for me. I don't think they are made for my body type. Although, I know a lot of people are like, well, petite knit, it's in the name. First of all, when we're talking about size inclusivity, when you are... Okay, you know what? We are going to talk about it. I wasn't going to go in depth, but you guys know I love a soapbox, okay? No hate to petite knit. However, this is my opinion. I've seen a lot of people respond to the criticism that her work isn't size inclusive with, well, why does she have to be size inclusive? Petite is in the name. Her name is Petite Knit. Do you guys know what petite means? Because petite people can be fat, by the way. They can. Because petite doesn't mean teeny tiny skinny, okay? It just means short and small. Generally smaller, which is me. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I don't think that I give off tall energy by any means. I do think that people have the tendency to think that I am of medium size on the internet, because you guys haven't really seen me to scale. And why would you assume somebody is tiny when most people are average sized? Guys, I'm 5'1" in shoes. I'm not a very big person. However, comma, I am like a size 12 to 14. Just because I'm not tall, it doesn't mean you can't be big. Not even saying that I'm fat, I'm just saying there is a wide range of petite bodies that go all the way from a size 0 to a size 18 plus, okay? And you can still be petite anywhere within that. So if that's going to be your defense, it's not a very good one. Next piece here is that even if that is your defense and you believe that it is a good one, Petite Knit is one of the biggest names in knitting patterns these days, and I just don't think that the size of her empire, there's kind of no excuse to not be size inclusive. And what I will say, I know a lot of her patterns technically look size inclusive, as in they go up to a certain bust circumference. The problem is that they aren't scaled well. They aren't test knit by people with larger bodies. So the fact that who is not even that big, okay, like I said, I'm like a size 12, maybe 14, okay, in pants, but like, if we're talking measurements, my waist is 31 inches. I'm not huge, okay? I knit a size large. Even the large, the proportions are very much off. Like the actual armholes are too small. Somehow I have like 11 inches of ease, but all of it is in the back instead of actually being able to accommodate my larger bust. I'm just not loving it. However, I'm going to block it today and see how it blocks out. However, I'm fully prepared to frog it and try to find a different striped sweater pattern. Which, by the way, if you have any suggestions, guys, for like striped sweater patterns that fit larger busts, please let me know in the comments. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think dropped shoulders are for me. I think that's part of this, is that straight up the method of construction doesn't tend to work as well for my body specifically. But I will say, when I tried it on yesterday, and then I ended up leaving the sweater on for like the next 20 minutes because it was getting dark, and I went ahead and fed my cats and like closed all of my blinds and whatnot. I was like, damn, actually though, the yarn is real nice. It was very warm, and I do love the colors. So anyways, we'll see how it blocks out. Another thing from Petite Knit, actually, I test knit for myself the Sophie hood the other day because I'm going to be making my mom a red one for Christmas. I also talked about this on my TikTok if you guys are interested in keeping up with my knitting affairs. This is a much better design than the Olga sweater. However, I will say, I think maybe she's just not for me because why are her directions straight up confuse me. I get so lost in the sauce, and I made the hood. I was like, okay, the pattern is good, but the written pattern, I don't know what I'm talking, like what's going on. So I had to like rewrite the pattern for myself because it's not difficult. It's increase every 6th row. That's basically most of the pattern, and then like the hood shaping is minimal, but somehow the way it's written, I was getting so confused and so lost in the sauce. Anyways, I'm gonna be making my mom a red one for Christmas. I'm gonna be making my dad a beanie at his request. This is the yarn I have for my mom's. And then, by the way, I should say, my family, we've been doing this for years now. We, like, our main gifts at Christmas are either handmade or secondhand. We don't really like buy new stuff, with the exception of I got a Blu-ray player a couple years ago. But unless it's like a specific thing for utility, most of the time we do handmade or secondhand. Here's what I was trying to show you. I thought it was in that one. It's actually in this one. By the way, guys, not sponsored. I should be. Bagoo, let me know. The Bagoo 3D zip bags are the freaking best project bags. They are the best project bags. They come in sets of 3. The small ones are perfect sizes for like socks. The medium ones are perfect sizes for like t-shirts or early or like the Sophie hood or early stages of a sweater, and then the big ones actually can fit a whole sweater. So this is the striped sweater. I like rage quit the Olga sweater a few times, and this is the striped sweater I've been working on in its place. I got pretty far on this one, and then I just sort of decided there were a few things about this I don't like, so I actually just restarted it yesterday, and I'm like most of the way done with the collar. I will look up the name and include it here, but this is the Stripes Overload Polo, and I'm really obsessed with, I hope this is focusing, guys, I'm sorry, I'm a mess today. I'm kind of obsessed with this colorway. It's like a blurple with like a medium walnut brown, but I'm just not satisfied with how, like, most of my raglan increases look really nice with the stripes. Like it looks pretty, there we go. It looks pretty good here, and they're not like jumping or anything like that. But on the actual start of the round, I don't like how I wasn't able to line them up very well. So the reason I'm restarting is because, number one, I kind of switched to the larger gauge too early, and you can see that in my last couple rows of ribbing on this one. But I think I'm going to switch it up because it has it so that you're doing increases at the beginning of a color, because you do two rows per stripe. So it has me doing an increase on the first row of the 2 rows in a stripe, and I'm going to switch it so that it's on the second row of the 2 rows in a stripe, so that I can do a jogless stripe change, if that makes any sense. Anyways, it's fine. I should say, for me, I'm definitely a process knitter. There are some crafts that I'm in it to get the thing, and there are some crafts that I'm in it to do the thing. Knitting, I'm kind of in it to do the thing, and so it actually doesn't bother me when I have to start and stop and restart and frog and whatnot. Like, genuinely, guys, if I end up having to take apart this whole sweater, I'll be fine. That's the reason I didn't cut the tails, because it's very much on the table that I will be taking apart this whole sweater and trying something else, and that's okay. It's okay. It really doesn't bother me. And then the last thing that I want to talk about with you guys today is upcoming videos on the channel. So I know guys, it's been a while since I posted a Hunger Games video. Yes, I am still doing the district series. It will be done eventually. However, it's a lot of work, and I'm not going to force myself to do it when I'm not like super excited about it, because that's how I burn myself out, okay? So if other things are exciting me more, I'm going to talk about those for the time being, which brings me to the long walk. And by the way, as I reached over to pick up the book, this is a great example of what I mean when I say if my paperbacks aren't just at least a little bit destroyed, I either didn't like the book or I haven't read it. Because tell me why I woke up this morning and my cat had literally ripped out the front page, and you can see his claw marks. Look at this. Check this out. He was trying to get my attention, so he ripped out a page of my book and then also was chewing on it. And the reason that I consider this part of like me beating it up is because I left it out. I left it out like literally on the floor next to my bed in a place where I would have stepped on it, because I was reading and writing in it until I was ready to go to bed last night, and I just dropped it where it was. So the long walk, I talked about this in my most recent video about it was supposed to be about only murders in the building, and then it also turned into a self-reflection on death and dying because of recent deaths in my family. But I have been obsessed with the long walk, so I have finished the book. Actually, I listened to the audiobook, and the gag was I would only listen to the audiobook while I was on walks. So I literally just finished it, not yesterday, the day before. Overall, it got me about 10 hours of walking, which was great. Went on a really long walk on, what day was that? Sunday? I think it was Sunday. Today's Tuesday. To finish the book, because I wanted to, I felt that I had to commit to the bit. But before I had finished it, I started going through my written copy to annotate and flag, and as you can see, I'm not like too far into that, but I'm going to keep going, because there's just a lot I want to talk about. And I really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the movie. There will be a video about that coming soon at some point. About other videos that are coming though, yes, the District 4 Hunger Games video will be here eventually. That is the next one in the lineup for those videos. District 4 will be next no matter what. District 8 will be after that no matter what. After that, it's a little up in the air, but we will see. So those are two videos that are in varying levels of progress. There is another video that I actually have a due date for, but it's funny, I've actually been thinking about doing this for a couple of years now. First, I thought I wanted to do it in the form of a zine, and I might still make a zine to accompany it. But I would like to make a video about New Year's, because I love New Year's. New Year's Eve and New Year's is actually my favorite holiday, and I know that kind of sounds insane to say, and I think that's honestly a fair reaction. However, I want to tell you guys why. I want to talk about like why I love it so much. I have a lot to say about New Year's, and I think it deserves a whole video. And January 2nd will be the 1-year anniversary of like my first like big, that was January 2nd will be the 1-year anniversary of when I dropped my video about the Capitol, which was like the thing that got my channel traction, because before that, that's still by far my most viewed video on YouTube. I think it's at like 350,000 views or something like that. And that was the thing that actually launched my channel to be viewed. like I had posted a couple things before that, but they got like no views, and that's fine. So I want to do a video about New Year's and have it drop on New Year's Eve or New Year's. But then I name drop my friend Alessandra on here quite a bit because she, bless her, love you so much, Ale. By the way, we've known each other since 4th grade. We are long distance friends at this point. She lives in Florida still, but I talk to her most days, I would say, and we almost exclusively communicate through voice notes. Also, shout out iMessage voice notes. Love them so much. But she has been like a sounding board for so many of my ideas and obsessions over the years and over the life of this channel. She basically, Alessandra gets a mini podcast version of videos a couple of months before you guys get them, which is pretty fun. But I
I've talked about this before. Guys, I love reaction videos. It is my guiltiest of pleasures, but God, is it a pleasure of mine. And I was ranting and raving about reactions to The Long Walk recently because, by the way, I've been chomping at the bit. Guys, if you are a reaction channel, get on it. Get on it, okay? I was... Guys, literally the past few weeks, I've been checking every single day for new videos to drop. In fact, I will insert a photo here. My YouTube algorithm is basically like, here, damn. I got recommended a video of reaction of The Long Walks 7 minutes after it was posted. Very first thing in my YouTube recommendations. That's how obsessed if you have posted a reaction to The Long Walk, I've already watched it. And I know this because there's only like 20 of them. And when I started, there were only like 3 of them. Okay, I've been every single day. As soon as a new one drops, I'm watching it. And then it was nice because for like a week and a half, 2 weeks there, it was like 1 or 2 were being dropped every day. Guys, the past week, none. And I need more people to watch. Anyways, I was complaining about this to Ale, and she was like, you should make a whole video about your love of reactions. I was like, God damn, you're actually really right. Because, like, I'm one of those people who I don't necessarily realize something about myself, even though I know it, but I don't necessarily, like, have the words to say it until somebody else points it out. But she was like, yeah, you're just, like, so passionate about it. I feel like you can make a really good video. And I was like, wait, I am passionate about it. I didn't even realize, but I totally am. And so she had floated that idea, and then literally later that day, one of my favorite reaction channels, Jack and Dan React, they released on their Patreon the unedited, uncut version of their reaction to 2019's Little Women. And when I tell you, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That video so perfectly encapsulated everything that I love about reactions and also everything that I hate about them. And it was like full spectrum. But even the parts that were like physically painful for me to watch, it was fine because it was 2 people that I love and trust already generally. So even though I was like, it was at times a tough watch, and they will be the first to admit this, by the way. Literally, I'm watching the uncut version. At the end of it, they have a serious like minute or 2 where they're like, this might be the worst one we've ever done. Can we even use this? And Dan's like, we have to use it. It was a poll winner. And Jack is like, shit, I'm so sorry, guys. Because it was and I love them so much, okay? But then even after like watching this whole video, that was just, they made an error really early in that just snowballed into a larger misunderstanding that just, they were off by about 400 and some odd years in regards to a historical figure. Even after all of that, they then have their discussion at the end and they just get it. They missed a lot of the details. They got the heart and soul of it. They had like a really thoughtful discussion about some of the larger themes and like women's autonomy and lack of opportunity and how many, you know, women could have been geniuses and could have been like great authors and painters and musicians who have just been lost to time because of the patriarchy preventing them from reaching the acclaim or having the opportunity to even begin work in their craft. And it was truly everything I love and everything I hate encapsulated into one video. And so I do want to make a video about that as well. So I have no idea what the timeline of these are gonna look like. It really just depends, okay? Oh, also there's another one. Guys, I literally still have the unopened box. I'm looking at it right now across the room. It's right next to my Shruti box. I literally still haven't opened my Catching Fire Illustrated Edition. And when I got the Hunger Games Illustrated Edition last year when it dropped, I did like a flip through on TikTok that did really well. So I think actually at some point this week, I will finally open that. I mean, No, it should be its own video. I was like, should I just throw it, like wrap it into this one? No, I think it should be its own because YouTube algorithm and whatever. I think I'll do a flip through of that as well if you want to look at it, and we can look at it together, because I have been so busy and out of it and thinking about other things that I actually haven't even been spoiled for it. I actually don't know what any of the illustrations looked like, but if it's anything like the Hunger Games illustrated, which I know it is because it's by the same artist, it's going to be beautiful, and I'm excited to see it. So maybe at some point in the next week or two, we can experience that together. So that gives you 5 videos on the horizon. Okay, we have Catching Fire illustrated flip through, District 4 eventually, In Defense of New Year's, reaction videos, why I love them, why I hate them, the best of times, the worst of times, and the long walk. Because also, here's the thing about the long walk. You guys know I love oral storytelling tradition. We already covered that in my Cubby video, right? You guys also know I love trains. You may or may not know this, but you should be able to put it together pretty quickly. I love Hadestown. I love Greek myth. Again, you should be able to put that together. I have a zine about Percy Jackson. Okay, I was a Percy Jackson kid through and through. Orpheus and Eurydice. Listen, a piece of media hates to see me coming with the Orpheus and Eurydice parallels, but nothing has been like Stephen King's The Long Walk when it comes to the Orpheus and Eurydice parallels, and even more so than the book, the changes that they've made for the movie. So that's, I'm gonna like tag team this as an opportunity to talk about not just The Long Walk, but also Orpheus and Eurydice, and by extension Hadestown, because also surprising number of train references within The Long Walk as well, that just sort of also another example of something Alessandra heard weeks before you guys did, is that when I was like thinking about this conceptually and throwing together like a very loose dump outline, because I have like 4 stages of a video. The first one is the dump outline, where I just write down literally everything I can think of, and then there is an actual outline, and then there's the draft, and then there's the script. I was like kind of throwing everything in there, and I was like, make a train joke, and then I was like, wait. Earlier this year, on a whim, for no reason at all whatsoever, I just had it in my heart that I needed to buy a wooden train whistle, so I did that, and it was like $5. But as I was throwing together this dump, I was like, oh, I gotta make a joke about a train. And I was like, wait, if I make a joke and then I include the train whistle, I can write off the train whistle. $5, guys. There's no reason for me to shoehorn a joke that requires the use of a train whistle into that video, but it's for the love of the game. Okay. Anyways, this has been really chaotic, and I'm kind of just talking at you guys now. Do you want to know other personal stuff about me? I had to get a bunch of dental shit on Friday, and they couldn't get me numb, and I cried. I cried a lot, because the thing is, they did eventually get me numb enough, but then I was just crying because of the sound of drills in my head. Sensory issues, yay! Love autism. What else? You guys know people in my life died. My cat had dental surgery. You guys also already knew that. What else? I actually don't know what else. I think that might be it. Anyways, with all that said, thanks for hanging out and listening to me rant and rave and ramble. This will go out hopefully soon. I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to stop recording this. I'm going to take a shower, which, by the way, that's why my hair is braided today. It is so disgusting and greasy, but I didn't want to take a shower before I recorded this and then have to, like, actually dry my hair, because I don't want to record a video with wet hair. Not even because, like, I'm vain and I don't want to have stringy wet hair, but actually just because I like having it. I don't want it to be on my... I have a system, okay? What am I saying right now. Guys, this is why I have to have a script. On TikTok, I just hit record, and whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth. It's also much lower stakes over there. And I learned very quickly on YouTube that I have to have a script. And yet I'm still, here I am, without my script, flailing. So, anyways, the point that I was getting at is hopefully this will go out in the next few days. I'm going to stop recording this, I'm going to take a shower, and then ideally I will just start editing this and have it out within a day or two, because luckily I don't have any particular messaging that I need to worry about phrasing well, because this is just a me talking at you and hanging out thing. Also, let me know, is this fun? Do you guys appreciate this? Do you not give a shit and, like, would rather me just not make, like, take time to make videos like this and just sort of drop my serious videos whenever they come? Or do you guys like having, like, update? Just let me know what you want to hear from me, okay? Because I'm of two minds about it. Because on one hand, I like being able to let you guys know what's coming up and whatnot. The only thing is that I do feel like, okay guys, this is not a dig at you. I so very much appreciate the audience that I have and the platform you all have given me. However, in both circumstances, there is a small but loud subsect of people that exist on the internet in any space. This is not unique to my viewers. This is everywhere, all over the internet. I feel like sometimes you guys forget that I'm a real person and that other creators are real people, and that your wants and needs do not take precedence over my own wants and needs, but also like my own artistic practice. Like there's a small group of people on my channel who get really upset every time I post a video that isn't about the Hunger Games, and like, sorry. I don't know. And I'm not saying, I'm so incredibly thankful for everybody who gives me their time, like takes the time out of their day to listen to what I have to say, because what an honor. However, I am providing that to you, and it doesn't, when I ask for feedback, I'm happy to hear feedback. You are welcome to give feedback whenever you'd like, but that doesn't mean I'm going to follow it or that I feel obligated to, because some of it is not feedback. It's not helpful. It's simply asking me to be not a person and cater to other people's whims, when it's like, if you like what I do, that's great. If you don't like what I do, that's okay too. But that's kind of not my problem. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I sound so whiny when I say this, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because I am of two minds about it, because I'm going to get complaints either way. I'm either going to get complaints when I do drop videos that, oh, it takes forever. Like, I'm already getting some on my District 7 video when it's like, where people are like, when's the next one coming out? I don't know, guys. So when I do, like, just drop stuff randomly, people get frustrated waiting around and not knowing what's going on. However, I feel like when I drop something like this that's very conversational as well, I also get people who are frustrated that I'm putting the time into creating this, and like literally the time investment and effort that it takes to put out a video like this, instead of investing that time and effort into one of my more serious ones. So I feel like it goes both ways, but I don't know which one you guys would prefer. My own personal thing is I like to tell you guys what's going on behind the scenes. I like to keep you guys updated, because I do think that it's a good reminder that humanizes me. On the other hand, I don't like clogging up your feed if you don't care. Particularly because if and when I do clog up your feed when you don't care, my voice has less of an impact for the things that you might care about, and that actually makes unfortunately, I wish this didn't matter, but it does. Unfortunately, that does make a difference financially for me, because again, I am lucky enough to be in a position where I'm able to make some extra income through making videos, through making my zines and my Etsy shop, through all of the lovely people who throw me $1 or $2 here or there on Patreon. Also, shout out to my patrons. You guys are so wonderful, especially because low-key I'm kind of neglecting you, and the fact that so many of you are still sticking around and hanging out with me and supporting my artistic endeavors in having this channel and writing my zines and all of the stuff, whatever floats my boat, whatever brings me joy is so humbling, and I'm so grateful for it. So thank you to everybody over there. Again, even if you don't have the money, because listen, people don't have money right now. I get it. Even if you guys don't want to sign up for a paid tier, you should still join my Patreon just because, like, under a free membership, just because I do post stuff over there more than I do over here. So with all that said, let's be real, I said too much. I've already said too much. So with all that said, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you to my patrons, to everybody. Let me know which upcoming video you are most excited to hear about. Please let me know any and all of your thoughts related to any and all of the questions that I asked in this, which let's think about some of them. Would you rather have videos like this explaining what's going on, or would you rather me just drop stuff? Let me know if you have a larger breast size, if there are any striped sweater patterns that worked for you that aren't drop shoulders. Please let me know the name of the pattern maker and pattern in the comments. Have you gotten work published in a magazine before? What was that experience like? Make a zine. Tell me about your favorite zine. I'm making stuff up now. Okay. At this point, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna go take a shower to fix my greasy ass hair. And I should probably have something to eat because it is 11:30 on the nose, and I haven't eaten yet. So, with that, goodbye. Hope you have a good day. See you around. See you next time. Okay, guys. Bye.